Okay, the next lesson we're going to look at is creating a keyring. This keyring will be laser cut, and we're going to show you some techniques to get used to using shapes, putting shapes together, and then taking shapes away from each other. So as you can see, I've got three designs that I've created. They're all very different. This one actually uses hearts, so the heart which can be found here. I've copied it and I've rotated it around, joined it together. This one actually uses the cube, the box here. Again, I've just changed the shape of that and rotated it. And this one uses circles, which is the tube here. And I've joined those together. And I've also, with this one, gone into a different menu in here, text and numbers, and found some letters that I can use. So before we get started, I'm just going to cover a couple of really important points when we are creating our keyring. The first point is that if you look, everything is the same level. And what I mean by that, so let's say if I just click this one and I ungroup it, and I ungroup it again, you can see all the parts to the keyring. Let's just hide these so that we don't get distracted by those. You can see that all the parts of the keyring, so I've got my D here, it's a D there. If I just drop that back, and all the letters as well. Now the important thing is everything is the same level. So if, for example, if I just raise this up a little bit, this is 3mm, you can see by the number 3 there. If I raise that a little bit, you can see now we have this, if I zoom in, we have this like area here that's lifted up. Now that is really important because if your designs are left like this, with this raised area here, when we send it to the laser cutter, what will happen is the laser cutter will, if you look at this from the top, it will see that as an edge. And what it will do, the laser beam will come down here, and it'll come down here, and it'll cut out here, and go all the way across here. And what will happen is your D will fall out. Now, I want to show you the difference. So if I now put that to 3, which is the same level as the orange circle that it's in, so now you see when we look, I call this glitching. So when it's the same level, if you notice, you get this little glitch. So you can see it's like glitching. That's a really important thing to look for when you're designing to laser cut, is that it's glitching like that because it means that it's on the same level. And then when it's on the same level, when you come to like merge it all together, so we've done this in the previous lesson, like using the group tool, you'll notice that when we look at it now from the top, we can see that if the laser beam came down here, it'll come down here, the laser beam, it'll stop there, and then it will go back up, okay? Which would mean that your letter D would stay in the right place because it's attached to this circular ring here. And if you look at all this here, you can imagine the laser beam going around all these parts, and you'll be left with the letters in the correct place. So let's just bring everything else back and show that on everything else as well. So again, if we have a quick look at the pink hearts. So again, imagine the laser beam cutting the outside shape, and you can see that everything here would be kept together. Now this one's quite interesting because when I created this one, if I undo it, you can see that I had to add these red pieces. Because if I didn't add those red pieces in, what would have happened, because these are separate pieces, so again you can see it's glitching, which means it's the same level. If these red pieces weren't here, and it laser cut it, I would be left with a hole in the middle. This middle piece would have fallen out. So I had to create these little pieces here to attach the middle to the outside. But I'll cover that more in the demonstration I'm going to do next. Okay, so there's some important points you need to look at. Now another important thing you need to do as well is make sure that your total height for these keyrings is 3mm. So all these, if I click this, it's 3, 3, and 3. Now the reason why it's 3 is because the plastic called acrylic that you'll be cutting in is 3mm thickness. So this is exactly to scale as you would be doing it in real life. And another thing to take note of is when I zoom in like this full screen, it looks really big. When I zoom out, they look smaller. Now, what you need to do is you need to count the squares. Okay, so here I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So each of these squares is a centimetre. So this keyring is 7 centimetres long by, I would say, maybe 2 centimetres wide. So if I move it to there, you can see it's two boxes. 1, 2. So also you need to keep an eye on how big and how small things are. It's very easy in Tinkercad to create things that you think look big on the screen, but when you actually laser cut it, it is very small. What you can do if you want to make things bigger or smaller is you can click, and you can click this button here, and you can increase this. So it's 6.5 centimeters high, and it is 2 centimeters wide, so it's 20 millimeters. So if I was to make that double the size, if I was to make it 40 wide, I'll just click that and I'll type in 40, like that. And then of course that changed the proportion. Okay, it doesn't look as good now, so just undo that. So again, when you are designing your keyring, please make sure you just take note of how big things are. You know how big a keyring should be. If you are unsure, just grab your ruler, have a look at your ruler, and then just work it out and what is the ideal size that you think. Right, what we'll do is we'll show you how we create this one, in the red one in the middle, and then we'll show you some other techniques to possibly help you create the other ones. So if I want to create this one, the first thing I do is I'm going to bring in the box. Now, when you're creating your keyring, only use shapes that have flat tops. So things like the box, the cylinder, don't use the sphere, don't use the cone, don't use the rounded roof, okay, don't use a half sphere, polygon's good, don't use a torus, tube, heart, star, don't use this star, okay, only flat tops, don't use this ring. If we were 3D printing, these would be fine, but because laser cutting only cuts things in 2 dimensions, it means it can only cut surfaces that are flat on the top. Okay, so don't be tempted to use this star and then expect your keyring to look like that, because we're going to put a flat piece of plastic in the laser cutter and you will not get this. If we were 3D printing it, it would print this to this shape. So just be mindful of that as well. Only use shapes with a flat top. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a view that you guys will be in. So you guys will be in this view when you start. The best thing to do, I would say, to begin with is go to the top view, like that, and then click this button here. So work in this view. So top, and then click this. Then what you need to do is you then need to start looking at your shape. So for this one, what I did was I made it a little bit smaller. So to do that, to make it smaller, the easiest way is to hold down the shift key and just pull the corner in. Now the reason why I hold the shift key, if I don't hold the shift key, I can do this. If I hold the shift key, it keeps in proportion, like that. Now, another point is that when I make things smaller, okay, it also alters the height. So once you made it to the right size, again, you have to do this visually. That looks fine to me. Just go into the 3D view. So just turn your view like this, click it, and then change the height to 3 millimeters. Okay, then you know that's the correct height. And you can go back to your top view. Now what you do is you can get this and you can rotate it. Now again, the rotate tool, you get quite free movement here. But if you hold the shift key, it locks into 45, 90, etc. So this is a lot easier to use because it gives you nice presets. So I want that sort of diamond shape, so I'm going to move it 45 degrees. Then I'll let go. So now I want to create another one. So to do that, all I do is I go up to here and press duplicate. And remember from the previous video that when you duplicate something, it appears on top. So all you have to do is press the down arrow key to make it appear. Now what's nice about this is you find where you want to have it, maybe there. Then if you press duplicate again, without deselecting this, so just leave that selected. If you press duplicate, what will happen is it'll repeat it in the same place. So you can create quite a nice pattern if you wanted to, like that. So let's put 4 in. Okay, now I've got this pattern here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just click them all. Okay, and then I'm going to group them. So now it is one shape. So from there, what you could do, you could click this, you could press duplicate again, and you could rotate it. Okay, you could say, right, I want to rotate that, and I'm going to then let go. Okay, and from that, you've got a really interesting shape. So you can see that from a box, tilting it, copying it, then rotating it, you've got an interesting shape. So this looks cool to me. So I'm going to, again, get that and group it to get rid of the lines. Okay, so now that is fine. I've got these little lines here, but I think they're okay because they might be like a nice design feature. So that's looking okay, looks interesting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some features on here. I'm going to take some shapes away from this shape to make it look interesting. So I think what we'll do to begin with is maybe put some circles, take some circles away. So I'm going to get the cylinder. And what I'm going to do is, when I always get the cylinder, I click this and I increase the size to make it a perfect circle. Then I'm going to resize. So again, I'm going to hold down the shift key and make it smaller. Okay, that looks good to me. And I'm going to put this one on top of here. All right, now, what I want to do is I want to get this in the center of my shape. Now I can do it by eye, but it's a little bit awkward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just highlight my shape. And then I'm going to press this button here, align. Now align's really good, it's really useful, because if I want to align this circle through the center, I just click this black dot. And now I can see it's in the center. So this point here will be the center of here. So it aligns nicely. If I click that, it'll put it right in the center, but I don't want to do that. Okay, I want to have it back where it was, which was there. So we've got that in the right place. Just check it's aligned. So what I want to do is I want to again duplicate that, and I want to use my down arrow key to put it on the opposite side, roughly about the same place. Okay, and then what I will do is I want these two to be also there and there. So I click this one, I hold down the shift key and click the other one. So that's both things selected now. I then press duplicate, and then if I use the rotate tool, okay, it should allow me to rotate it, okay, like that, by 90 degrees. So they are now in the right place. Now I want to take them away, and currently as they stand, if I do that, I can see that they won't be taken away, they'll be added. So I want to take these away, so I'm going to click that one, hold down shift, click that one, still holding shift, click that one. Okay, so then I'm going to change them to a hole. All right, now they're all ready. And the last thing then is to do this and then to take it away. So then we get a hole taken out of there. So it's looking interesting now. So in this center area, I think I'm going to take something away as well, just to add a bit more feature. So anything interesting down here? No, I think I might just use the cylinder like this. Okay, and again, like I said before, increase the sides. And I'm going to put this in the center. So same as it before, I can put it sort of randomly where I want to put it. Okay, then if I highlight this and I use my align tool, okay, if I click this left dot, it hasn't moved because it's already in the right place. And if I click this one, it'll move slightly, so that now is perfectly in the center. Okay, so again, I want to remove it, so I click it, I press the hole. Okay, then I have to select both things, and then we take them away. Okay, so now we have our hole in the middle. So that's my interesting shape. What I could do is I could put something inside there. So let's go for text and numbers. So let's go for my initial R. Okay, and I want to put this R in the middle here. Now, this R has to touch on the sides. It can't just float in the middle like this, because when we laser cut it, you will lose your letter. Okay, so there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can, let's just zoom into it, click this and have a look closer to make life easier. Okay, so get really accurate here. So I could grab it and hold down Shift and stretch it so it touches the shape. Okay, that's touching now, but we need to make it in the center. So I click this, and again, the align tool. I want that in the center there, and that in the center there. Okay, so that's touching there, that's touching there, that's touching there. But what you need to do, if you just did this, it'll be wrong. Okay, remember I said at the start of the video, the laser cutter would cut this out. And if you tilt at an angle, you can see that is not correct. That would cause a problem. So let's just undo that. So what we need to do is we need to change this to, click that, 3. Okay, and remember I said about that glitch? We've got the glitch, which means it is the same height. Okay, so again, we're going to do that. I'm going to join it. Okay, so that is now joined onto here, like so. There we go. So if we just have a quick zoom in, have a look. Okay, that's quite big actually, so I'm going to reduce the size a little bit. So let's just shrink it down a little bit. Okay, so 5 centimeters, so 50, which is millimeters, by 50. Okay, and the last thing I'll do is need to check that it's still 3. It's probably changed a little bit. So when I shrink it down smaller, it also gets thinner. So again, 3. Okay, one last thing to do. So the last thing to do now is go back into our menu here and go into basic shapes. And I want to go to tube. Okay, so sides, increase those, and make this a little bit smaller. The tube is very useful because it's where we can clip our keyring into. You can put it at the top there, you can put it at the edge, and put it at the top here, like so. And again, you'll need to check it's the same level, which is not. So quick fix, click that, and press 3. Okay, almost there. So last thing we do is then we join it. Okay, so that's good. So you can see now that's another keyring created. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a last little check. Okay, everything is the same level. Everything is the same level. Now I'm a little bit concerned about these little lines here. Okay, because what that potentially could do, you can see now zoomed in, it's a split line. So what that might do, that would probably weaken the design because the laser would cut down here and cut in here. And also, so a quick fix for this, really easy quick fix, is just to get the box, make it a little bit smaller. Right, I'm going to change that to 3 because that's how tall my design is. Make it a little bit small like that. Go to the top, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place these in spaces where the gaps are. So put one there, I'm going to rotate it so it fits parallel. Okay, it's glitching, which is good. Okay, duplicate that one, move it down, and rotate it so it covers that gap. It doesn't have to cover all the line. Duplicate that, move that one to like here. Again, they're all glitching, which means they're the same level. It's good you've seen this because you can see how easy it is to fix things and the importance of getting everything so it's the same level. This one, again, we'll rotate that one. So, okay, so that's just gonna plug those gaps. Let's just, again, highlight over there and join it all together. And now you'll see they've gone. These little marks won't matter. It was the fact that everything else needed to be. Let's go this round. Okay, so that's the keyring done. So you've seen how we group things, you've seen how we can rotate things, you can see how we take things away. But it's really important, as if you look at all these, you can see that they all are the same level and they are all joined together. There's nothing at a different height, and also they are all a sensible size for a keyring.